Thank you for joining me reading Granddaddy's Bible. Sorry I haven't read in a couple days. We're going to read chapters 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In Deuteronomy. I had a phone failure, so that's why I haven't been reading and uploading. Chapter 3. The victory over Og, king of Basan. Ruben, Gad, and half the tribe of Manassas received their possession on the other side of Jordan. Then we turned and went by the way of Basan, and Og, the king of Basan, came out to meet us with his people to fight in Edrei. And the Lord said to me, "Fear him not, because he is delivered into thy hand, with all his people and his land. And thou shalt do to him as thou hast done to Sihon, king of the Amorites that dwell in Heshbon." So the Lord our God delivered into our hands Og, also the king of Basan, and all his people, and we utterly destroyed them, wasting all his cities at one time. There was not a town that escaped us. 60 cities, all the country of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Basan. All the cities were fenced with very high walls, and with gates and bars, besides innumerable towns that had no walls, and we utterly destroyed them, as we had done to Sihon, the king of Heshbon, destroying every city, men and women and children. But the cattle and the spoils of the cities we took for our prey. And we took at that time the land of the hand of the 2 kings of the Amorites that were beyond the Jordan, from the torrent Arnon unto the Mount Hermon, which the Sidonites call Sarion, and the Amorites Senir. All the cities that are situate in the plain, and all the land of Galaad and Basan, as far as Selka and Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Basan. For only Og, king of Basan, remained of the race of the giants. His bed of iron is shown, which is in Rabbath, of the children of Ammon, being 9 cubits long, and 4 broad, after the measure of the cubit of a man's hand. And we possessed the land at the time from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the torrent Arnon, unto the half of Mount Galaad. And I gave the cities thereof to Ruben and Gad, and I delivered the other part of Galaad, and all Basan, the kingdom of Og, to the half tribe of Manassas, all the country of Argob, and all Basan is called the land of giants. Jair, son of Manassas, possessed all the country of Argob unto the borders of Geshuri and Makati. And he called Basan by his own name, Havoth Jair, that is to say, the towns of Jair, until this present day. To Mashir also I gave Galaad, and to the tribes of Ruben. And Gad I gave of the land of Galaad, as far as the torrent Arnon, half the torrent, and the confines even unto the torrent Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon, and the plain of the wilderness, and the Jordan, and the borders of Cinneroth, unto the sea of the desert, which is the salt sea. To the foot of Mount Phasga, eastward. And I commanded you at the time, saying, The Lord your God giveth you this land for an inheritance. Go ye well appointed before your brethren, the children of Israel, all the strong men of you, leaving your wives and children and cattle, for I know you have much cattle, and they must remain in the cities, which I have delivered to you, until the Lord give rest to your brethren, as he hath given to you, and they also possess the land, which we will give them beyond the Jordan. Then shall every man return to his possession, which I have given you. I commanded Joshua also at that time, saying, Thy eyes have seen what the Lord your God hath done to these two kings. So will he do to all the kingdoms to which thou shalt pass. Fear them not, for the Lord your God will fight for you. And I besought the Lord at that time, saying, Lord God, thou hast begun to show unto thy servant thy greatness and most mighty hand. For thee is no other God, either in heaven or earth, that is able to do thy works, or to be compared to thy strength. I will pass over therefore, and will see this excellent land beyond the Jordan, and this goodly mountain, and Libanus. And the Lord was angry with me on your second account, and heard me not, but said to me, It is enough. Speak no more to me of this matter. Go up to the top of Phasca, and cast thy eyes round about to the west, and to the north, and to the south, and to the east, and behold it, for thou shalt not pass the Jordan. Command Joshua, and encourage and strengthen him, for he shall go before this people, and shall divide unto them the land which thou shalt see. And we abode in the valley over against the temple of Fogor. Chapter 4. Moses exhorteth the people to keep God's commandments, particularly to fly idolatry. Appointeth 3 cities of refuge on that side of the Jordan. And now, O Israel, hear the commandments and the judgments which I teacheth thee, that doing them thou mayest live, and entering in mayest possess the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, will give you. You shall not add to the word that I speak to you, neither shall you take away from it. Keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you. Your eyes have seen all that the Lord hath done against Beelphegor. Now he hath destroyed all his worshippers from among you. But you that adhere to the Lord your God are all alive until this present day. You know that I have taught you statutes and justices, as the Lord my God hath commanded me. So shall you do them in the land which you possess, and you shall observe and fulfill them in practice. For this is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of nations, that hearing all these precepts, they may say, Behold, a wise and understanding people and great nation. Neither is there any other nation so great, that hath gods so nigh them as our God is present to all our petitions. For what other nation is there so renowned, that hath ceremonies and just judgments and all the law, which I will set forth this day before your eyes? Keep thyself therefore and thy soul carefully. Forget not the words that thy eyes have seen, and let them not go out of thy heart all the days of thy life. Thou shalt teach them to thy sons and to thy grandsons, from the day in which thou didst stand before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord spoke to me, saying, Call together the people unto me, that they may hear my words, and may learn to fear me all the time that they live on the earth, and may teach their children. And you came to the foot of the mount which burned even unto heaven, and there was darkness, and a cloud, and obscurity in it. And the Lord spoke to you from the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of his words, but you saw not any form at all. And he showed you his covenant, which he commanded to you, and the 10 words that he wrote in 2 tables of stone. And he commanded me at the time I should teach you the ceremonies and judgments which you shall do in the land that you shall possess. Keep therefore your souls carefully. You saw not any solemnitude in the day that the Lord God spoke to you in Horeb from the midst of the fire, lest perhaps, being deceived, you might make you a graven solemnitude or image of male or female. The solemnitude of any beasts that are upon the earth, or of birds that fly under heaven, or of creeping things that move on the earth, or of fishes that abide in the waters under the earth. Lest perhaps, lifting up thy eyes to heaven, thou see the sun and the moon and all the stars of heaven, and being deceived by error, thou adore and serve them, which the Lord thy God created for the service of all the nations that are under heaven. But the Lord hath taken you and brought you out of the iron furnace of Egypt, to make you his people of inheritance, as it is this present day. And the Lord was angry with me for your words, and he swore that I should not pass over the Jordan, nor enter into the excellent land which he will give you. Behold, I die in this land. I shall not pass over the Jordan. You shall pass and possess the goodly land. Beware, lest thou ever forget the covenant of the Lord thy God, which he hath made with thee, and make to thyself a graven likeness of those things which the Lord hath forbid to be made. Because the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. If you shall beget sons and grandsons, and abide in the land, and being deceived make to yourselves any solemnitude, committing evil before the Lord your God, to provoke him to wrath, I call this day heaven and earth to witness that you shall quickly perish out of the land, which when you have passed over the Jordan, you shall possess. You shall not dwell therein long, but the Lord will destroy you, and scatter you among all nations, and you shall remain a few among the nations to which the Lord shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods that were framed with men's hands, wood and stone, that neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. And when thou shalt seek there the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him. Yet so if thou seek him with all thy heart, and all the affection of thy soul, after all the things aforesaid find thee in the latter time, thou shalt return to the Lord thy God, and shalt hear his voice. Because the Lord thy God is a merciful God, he will not leave thee, nor altogether destroy thee, nor forget the covenant by which he swore to thy fathers. Ask of the days of old, that have been before thy time, from the day that God created man upon the earth, from one end of heaven to the other end thereof. If ever there was done the like thing, or it hath been known at any time, that people should hear the voice of God speaking out of the midst of fire, thou hast heard and lived. If God ever did so as to go and take himself a nation out of the midst of nations, by temptations, signs, and wonders, by fight and strong hand, and stretched out arm, and horrible visions, according to all the things that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before thy eyes, that thou mightest know that the Lord, he is God, and there is no other besides him. From heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might teach thee. And upon earth he showed thee his exceeding great fire, and thou didst hear his words out of the midst of the fire. Because he loved thy fathers, and chose their seed after them, and he brought thee out of Egypt, going before thee with his great power, to destroy at thy coming very great nations, and stronger than thou art, and bring thee in, and give thee their land for possession, as thou seest at this present day. Know therefore this day, and think in thy heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and in the earth beneath, and there is no other. Keep his precepts and commandments which I command thee, that it may be well with thee, and thy children after thee, and thou mayest remain a long time upon the land which the Lord thy God will give thee. Then Moses set aside 3 cities beyond the Jordan at the east side, that any one might flee to them, who should kill his neighbor unwillingly, and was not his enemy a day or 2 before, and that he might escape to some one of these cities. Besor in the wilderness, which is situate in the plains of the tribe of Ruben, and Ramoth in Galaad, which is in the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Basan, which is in the tribe of Manassas. This is the law that Moses set before the children of Israel, and these are the testimonies and ceremonies and judgments which he spoke to the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt, beyond the Jordan in the valley, over against the temple of Phogor, in the land of Setron, king of the Amorites, that dwelt in Heshbon, whom Moses slew, and the children of Israel coming out of Egypt possessed his land, and the land of Og, king of Basan, of the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan towards the rising of the sun, from Aroer, which is situated upon the bank of the torrent Arnon, unto Mount Sion, which is also called Hermon, all the plain beyond the Jordan at the east side, unto the sea of the wilderness, and unto the foot of Mount Phasga. I'm going to stop there for today, and we're going to read 2 sections tomorrow. Thank you for joining me reading Granddaddy's Bible.